Let's play the English opening. But this likely transfers to the Queen's Gambit if he plays d5. Yeah, or now he can play Nimzowitsch Indian or d5, which is a normal orthodox Queen's Gambit. e7, bishop e7. I mean, normally you play d5 or bishop b4 to avoid that white can move the pawn e2 to e4, because in the opening you want to get control of the center. So if he allows me to play e4 this easy, I will certainly do this. So e4 and maybe even playing e5 later on. Oh, I wonder if I should even play f4 here, just to have the option to play e5 myself later on. I think I do this. I mean, the problem with this move is that it's also weakening my kingside position. I really like to play e5. I'm not sure if I should play it now or if I should just develop first. Let's develop. I don't want him to play e5, so let's play e5. It reminds me a bit of a structure in the Alekhine, but then this knight would be on b6. So this knight, I mean, you can transfer it via d7 to b6, but you need to take care here about the king. There are not many pieces protecting the king. This knight looks a bit stranded here. Okay. He was not able to take here on d4 with the knight, and I take back queen d4 because bishop h7 check and the queen would be lost. Here I think I just protect the pawn, and then I will castle short. And afterwards I try to use the black squares here. I mean, they are all weak, and yeah, I certainly want to keep this bishop. Question is if I move it to e4. I would like to move the knight later to e4, because his knight would be very nice here on f6, g5, controlling the dark squares. It's not doing that much here on c3 at the moment. And yeah, but I don't want to play bishop b1, because this rook I like to be to have on d1. So okay, let's just waste this tempo, and then I will follow up with okay, I want to make it more difficult for him to play knight to f5. And here I also think about, although it looks really strange, to play g4, because his knight would be good on f5, and I don't see him to take advantage of the weakened position here of my king. He is able to play c5, however, later on maybe, but not at the moment. Okay, I think I like g4. I don't want him to improve the position of this knight. Okay. black squares are important here. Maybe bishop g5 also. I would be happy to exchange this bishop. You can see then that this square, the f6 square, will be very, very important for me. I mean, the knight on e4 and on f6 would be very nice. So maybe I should regroup and play the bishop to g5. But first of all, I retreat the I move the rook to e1. Then I can retreat the bishop here to c2 or to b1. I don't I don't think about playing bishop c6. It destroys his pawn structure, but I like this. I like to keep this bishop, and this knight is not doing that much here. Okay. Let's move back to b1. I don't want, you know, annoying moves like knight b4 later on and waste tempo here. I think the bishop is okay here on b1. Okay, knight f6. This is my goal. And then maybe knight to g5. And I want to move my queen here to the h file. You can see that this knight doesn't have a move, and all these pieces are somewhat locked in. So I think I can just take my time and strengthen the position. Now I'm aiming here at h7, and I don't see how he will really protect h7. I also think about playing knight g5 and taking here afterwards, just sacrificing. But let's get rid of this bishop here. "35 seconds. Maybe it was really better to this knight g5. I could also try to sacrifice here the rook. It's already very, very difficult for black to defend. You can see that these pieces are all locked in here on the queen side, and they need to help the king, but the king is quite lonely and there are no defenders. So okay.
Check.
Yeah, now I threaten to take here, and then knight g5, attacking f7, attacking h7. I could also play a knight to f6 check. He takes, and then there's a mate. I mean, yes, everything is winning. I think this is even quicker.
Check. Black resigns.
So in this game we saw another opening mistake, and this was here in this position. I mean, one rule for openings is, yeah, to fight for the center, and up to this moment black's play was okay. e6 is just aiming for playing d5, and d5 is a good move, is a solid move, and d5 controls e4 and fights for c4, so this is all good. And knight f6 as well, the knight takes control over d5 and e4, so this is all in line with the strategy to fight for central squares. But here black went wrong. So to fight for the central squares you need to play d5, or you could play bishop b4. Then it's difficult for white to play e4. I mean, after bishop b4 it's not possible, because he can just take. This knight would be pinned. And another move that is also possible is to play c5 and directly attack the center. So black needs to fight for the center, and this is one opening rule which he didn't do here in this game. And here you can see that white has a huge space advantage and control over the center. and now I can kick away both knights. I can play also d5, but I choose e5 because I thought this bishop is good on this diagonal to attack the king, and after e5 also a defender of the king needs to go away, and he chooses to go onto the side of the board, which is also not that good, because this knight is doing nothing here, and you saw later on that this knight needed to retreat to g7, and so black weakened his kingside position, and the knight didn't have that many squares at all. So keep an eye in the opening to try to get the center, to try to control the center.